Hey everybody, St. Paul here. Welcome to episode 11 of Music on the Run. It's snowy here in Minneapolis in April. It's unbelievable. It's just, as Prince said, sometimes it snows in April. Episode 11 features my buddy Nathan East, the great bass player. He's played with everybody from Clapton to Michael Jackson to Phil Collins, Ringo, Foreplay, Daft Punk, Toto, Stevie, Herbie, Quincy, so many different people. And we get to talk to him next on Music on the Run. Before we get started here, do me a favor. Wherever you got this podcast, make sure you subscribe, give us a rating, and if you have time and you like what you're hearing, make sure you write a review. It really helps us get the word out so we can have a lot more people coming to the party. Hey everybody, how are you? My name is St. Paul Peterson, and welcome to another special NAMM edition of Music on the Run in front of a live studio audience. Let me hear you. I am seated in the Electro Voice booth, which is an incredible company out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, or Bloomington, Minnesota, actually. They have graciously hosted us here at the National Association of Music Merchants Conference, which is the biggest conference, I think biggest music merchant conference in the world, where I get to see my old friends like Adrian. I see you out there, my brother. It's so great to see a bunch of old faces here that I love so much, and it really is like a reunion here. But we are sitting in the Electro Voice booth, and we've had such a great time this entire week taping this podcast, and today is going to be no exception to that. My next guest, we like that groove going on next door. Can you feel that? I can hear it. My next guest is the busiest and really is the most recorded bass player of all time. He's a Grammy-nominated solo artist, a producer, a songwriter, arranger, vocalist, band leader. He's a pilot, and so am I, so we're going to talk about that. He's a magician. He's worked with everybody from Michael Jackson to Eric Clapton and, of course, his own band, Foreplay. Please give a beautiful applause to Mr. Nathan East. Nathan!
It's kind of funky in here.
Oh, well, you know, sometimes we got to do that. Learn that from you.
Is in the house.
Welcome. Thank you for doing this. Thanks for taking time out of your day.
This is the band right here.
You got the band here?
Yeah.
Well, it'd be a hell of a band.
Byron,
we should set it up and compete with next door.
Michael Neal, come on.
I know. A bunch of great musicians in the house.
Congrats on the podcast, too. This is great.
So you've been busy at this now.
Oh, man, yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about the concert that I unfortunately missed the other night. You were the musical director for this big night, huh?
Did anybody go? It was, first of all, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I know.
Came and played. I mean, we could stop there, but, Sinbad hosted it, and, Talkbox, Avery Sunshine, Shalea. I mean, it was Kenny Loggins came.
I know, my old buddies. I cannot believe that was the one night I decided to stay in and rest up.
Oh,
Whoops.
man.
Bad
I wish
decision.
I could have stayed in and rested up. But we had the most fun ever. I mean, it was like, for me, I was like a kid again,
I bet.
because, all those songs are part of our DNA.
Oh, man.
And so it was great.
So what was it, just for my listeners out there who are not musicians, who don't understand what a musical director does, will you explain what your role was in organizing this thing?
Well, I've been with Yamaha almost coming up on 40 years now.
Wow.
So it's
wow.
When I was 2, we got together, and that's when I started with them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've been doing this for a few years now, and they've been relying on me to not only to play, and I signed with their label, and then I MD a lot of the shows that we do together. So this NAMM show kind of keeps. Every year, we've been doing it for a few years now. Out on the plaza in the parking lot.
Basically, yeah.
So the parking lot seats 30,000 or something like
Sure does.
something like that. So it kind of it's snowballing. It just keeps getting kind of bigger and bigger every year, and it's a lot of fun.
It's got to be a chance to reconnect with all your old friends, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's a family kind of affair. Even Yamaha family, from Japan, the USA, and then all the people that we get to work with musically, on the stage. Everybody A to Z, production. It's a big family.
It's old home week, right?
Old home week.
Kind of like what it goes on here when you walk down the halls of this convention. You run.
Yeah.
You can't get 5 feet without running into somebody that you know and love.
Exactly.
It's like a reunion.
Yeah, I started to come here at 10 this morning. I just got here.
Well,
I was just down the hall. But I mean, you see everybody literally, and it's like a big family reunion. I love it.
I know. So your website says that you have 2,000 hours of recorded bass. Dude, that's a lot of bass. That's like 30,000 songs, if I did my math correctly.
Well, you don't think about it at the time, but when I started doing sessions, literally, there were like 4 or 5 sessions a day going on in this town. So if you do the math, like in 7 days, you could do 28, 25, 30 sessions in a week.
And you did.
and I did. And that was like my ambition. That was kind of one of my dreams. And the next thing you know, the calls were coming in, and I was saying yes. So we just started with Barry White. We used to do those every day.
Wow.
And do those records. And then, from then, Quincy Jones you called, and so you're in the studio camped out with him, and then, Kenny called to go on tour, so, you leave that there, and you run out and do those, and then it's a live album, so it's good fun.
So it's been an incredible run, and you're busier than ever.
Still, thankfully, that's kind of what I prayed for when I was little.
Well, be careful what you pray for.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So, bass, is that your primary instrument? Is that what you started on, or?
I started on cello.
Okay.
And actually, the first thing that made me want to get into music was I'd sit down and listen to the Charlie Brown specials.
Oh,
and
really?
Vince Guaraldi music was just like way too cool, and all those, Christmas and all the specials.
Yeah.
And so I said, I want to do that. And so at school, I said, I want to play piano, and they said, well, we don't have that, but you can play one of the string instruments. So I picked the cello because it was kind of a good size. Bass was too big.
Right, okay.
Violin and viola were a little small, so I said,
So were you playing that as a kid in school?
I played it a few years in the orchestra in junior high school.
Okay.
So that was my start.
When did the switch come to bass?
And then I was in church with my brothers who were playing and singing, and there was a bass on the altar, and nobody was playing it, and I picked it up, and I said, this is it. This is me from now on. I was 14, and great thing about playing in church is you don't have to be that good. If you make a mistake, they forgive you right away. It's a good place to learn. That's why so many people come out of the church.
It's true, man. It really is.
It's a very forgiving.
It's actually a great environment because everybody wants you to succeed. Everybody wants to play.
Yeah. Yeah, and so nobody's gonna get on your case. So I was immediately in the back, and there was something about the bass, I guess, coming from cello.
Yeah.
I kind of already had the bass clef and 4 strings, so that was already kind of part of the equation. So it was a very easy transition, and then it just, I learned the E, the A, and then I had a gig by the time I got to the D.
That's the only 2 strings we need, right? So tell me a little bit about your family growing up. Yeah, now you're originally from Philly, and then
we went to San Diego because my dad got a job at General Dynamics Convair designing aircraft.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
aha.
Yeah.
Now I know why.
That's why we have 4 pilots in the family.
Do you really?
Yeah, 4 private pilots. Yeah. So
you still flying?
Oh, my brother. I still fly. Yeah.
I'm still. I have to get my medical, but I'm just got my biannual.
Yeah. I got it. I have to get current now, but because I've been doing so much international commercial travel now. So.
It's hard. That's a hard thing to keep up with, but you don't want to mess around with that one.
No, you don't want to.
Yeah, there's no undo button on that one.
No reset.
So is your family musical then? I take it.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's musical. It's just like it's part of it's part of the equation, you know. And so we had a piano, and then we all had lessons, piano lessons. But then everybody had, you know, my sister played French horn, and flute. My brothers played guitar. My brother James, I left a bass laying around. Now he plays bass. You know,
oh, is that right?
Yeah, he came back and he was teaching me some stuff on the bass. You know,
Oh,
so he actually plays in my band. And yeah, David and Ray. Ray's a Monsignor. He was ordained a priest.
Is that right?
Yeah, 35 years ago. So he has
That's
a parish
great,
in D.C.
Man.
Yeah,
Wow.
so very musical and spiritual family.
That's so cool, man. It's very similar to the Peterson family for me, so I knew we'd get along right away. I've known, of course, about Nathan my entire career because I'm a bass player as well. We've communicated, and I feel like we know each other, but we've never really hung out.
Right.
So this is a good opportunity.
And when you were warming up my bass just now, I said, okay, now I know where to go for lessons. It's crazy.
Highly doubt that. No. But I think it's quite similar, though, that because my mom was a strong Catholic woman, and my father died when I was young, and all of my brothers and sisters played music. We didn't really know any better, and it sounds like that might have been the case in your house as well.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, it's kind of like you just gravitated, and then, you know, music was always blasting throughout the neighborhood, you know. So,
What are you listening to back in those days?
oh, man, you know, Marvin Gaye and,
Okay.
of course, Earth, Wind, and Fire, but
Yeah.
everything, Chicago and Tower of Power, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I'm the biggest Tower of Power fan.
Were you there last night?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, me too.
Singing every song, you know. I just fast David Garibaldi just now.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And like, come on.
And Rocco.
And Rocco's our
I
hero,
love him,
you know.
man.
Yeah, love
I
Rocco.
visit him every time I'm in Vegas, whenever I can.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, he's mentor. You know, he and Verdine are my mentors.
Verdine, me too. I mean, and you, but those are in Marcus and
Yeah,
Abe.
Abraham, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Abe. I mean, Anthony Jackson, let me count the ways. You know, musically, there's just so much James Jamerson, you know, and McCartney, and there's so much music that's come, you know, before us that we should study and digest and know. So
And I want to talk about education a little bit later on in this, but I want to know when you actually stepped out of the church and well, you always been there, but I'm saying to be a professional musician. What was that transition all about?
Yeah.
What was that first gig?
I studied music. Actually, I got a degree in music at UCSD, and I started the master's program actually. So Bert Turetsky, who was our contrabass instructor there, you know, he said, "Move to LA, start making some money, and make us proud." You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So he literally kind of kicked me out of graduate school. You know.
Is that right?
And said, "Dude,
That's your school.
You're going to be here for UCSD."
Okay.
So and now, you know, I love doing. I started a fund for UCSD East for Education. So
Did you?
So that we can just continue to get our young people educated and so I work with the chancellor there a lot still now and then.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
I mean, music education is so important, or just exposure to musicality, I think, is so incredibly important.
And you know, there's things you learn in school, and then there's things you learn in out on the road,
On the gig.
the school of hard knocks. You know?
Oh, yeah.
But when you put those things together, I think it really gives you the frame of reference and it gives you depth and I think the tools that it takes to really deal with everything that you're going to come up against. You know, once you leave the comfort of this institution. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Have you ever taught at a college or anything like that?
No, lots of clinics.
Okay.
You know, and Berkeley, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and then actually my son goes to UC Berkeley, my son and daughter, and recently they did an alumni event and they asked us both to play for it. You know, so
Really?
it was fun to play. Yeah, and so many universities around the world I've played in. Seoul, my friend is a dean of a big music school there, Jack Lee's brother, and so you know it's just very important to me.
You're passing it down to the next generations, man.
I
Through
think
your
so.
records, through your recording, through your teaching.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that's the way. That's what we're supposed to do.
I think
but not
so.
everybody does that.
Well, I think, you know, once you learn something and once you achieve a certain level, you take that ladder that you climbed and you know you can put it behind you, and then folks can climb up and meet you there, And so I have an online school of bass at Artist Works.
Oh.
And so, and there's a lot of good faculty member. Chuck Loeb was there, before he passed, with John
Right.
Patitucci,
Aha.
and
Sure.
so there's some good bass. He has a great upright school there.
Okay.
And so we just, try to kind of keep passing it on, so that when we go off the edge of the conveyor belt.
Which is not going to be anytime soon,
Right.
God willing.
Right.
We got a lot. You got a lot more.
Yeah,
music
no,
to
but
play. But that-
it becomes, it becomes more poignant when you look at people like Prince and
Yes.
Michael Jackson, who, you want those guys to be around forever,
Yeah.
and the thought that they're gone is like still, I'm trying to work that out,
Well, you're talking about legacy, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And nowadays, I think people are more curious, and I know because I have 19-year-old twins, and I know from their curiosity, and you're on, YouTube, and you can go back and find a lot of gems, So
My kid's sitting out here and she's nodding her head. She knows she does
Yeah.
the same thing.
yeah, and there's just so many platforms, and before we'd go to the library and get the index cards and
Get
go
the
down.
vinyl.
Yeah, so we had vinyl, but now it's just it's so deep that where you can research, and people are researching, and they're finding all this good stuff. So now I think you meet the young musicians who are actually like amazing, and more amazing, I think, is because they have access to so much information.
That's really true. I mean, that is one positive part of the internet.
Yeah,
There's
right.
many positive parts, but that is definitely
Yeah.
one of them. So your big break when you were a kid, who was it with?
It was I got a call from Barry White when I was 16.
Barry White.
yeah, Barry White.
Yeah.
And our band Power in San Diego backed up this Stax review, and he was one of the artists. And when he heard the band, he hired the entire band on the spot. So he called us all up to his office, and
What?
we went up there. And he said, but this is the funny part. He said, "I'm going to give you guys $500 a week, and you share a hotel room." And we were like giving each other high fives in
I
front of
bet.
him.
We made it. We made it.
But it was an unbelievable experience, playing the Apollo Theater in Madison
Oh.
Square Garden with the Love Unlimited Orchestra,
Oh,
and
man.
everybody was in tuxedos, and
Is that right?
it was fantastic. We played Detroit Cobo Hall and Kennedy Center. So I remember, like, as a teenager being in these places, then I was hooked. I was hooked for life.
I bet you were, man.
Yeah.
I bet you were. But the phone calls kept coming, though.
And yeah, and thankfully, Gene Page was Barry's arranger, and Gene was arranging everything. Elton John, Madonna, the Jacksons. So,
Right.
and if he liked you, then he would use you. So, like, as soon as I hit town, and he, oh man, you can read all my parts and play and interpret them, and he just started using me for everything and recommended me. So the phone started blazing, and people like Quincy called, but he would call for like literally every session,
Really?
And so okay, tomorrow we got Dionne Warwick, we got Johnny Mathis next week, we got the Jacksons, and he was arranging all those people.
He lined it all up.
He lined a lot up.
But this gentleman that you're speaking of, the one who was, tell me his name again, the arranger for Barry.
Gene Page.
So he was the guy who kind of recommended you for all that. So he was the instigator to get you involved.
He
in all
was
that
a good,
stuff.
and he always used, you go in the sessions, and there, one of my first sessions with him was a Hertz Rent-A-Car jingle commercial, and on it was Lee Ritenour, Ray Parker Jr.,
Oh.
all the James Gatson, and so all these like A-team players he used, and then when they go around and drop your name, so it's kind of like a business of stepping stones, and it goes from there.
Wow. So, we aren't just talking one genre of music with you either. You love it all. You've done it all.
Everything. Well, to me, there's only two genres:
What is that?
good and bad.
Oh, is that the truth? Okay, so stay with me on this one thing. I'm going to play a little game, man. Name a favorite memory from a session or an artist or somebody you've traveled with in the following genre. Let's start with jazz.
Herbie Hancock, when we got to Spain, and my big, huge bass case that had my electric upright in it came rolling around on the carousel, and Herbie grabbed it off of the carousel, and I'm going, bruh, you're Herbie Hancock. And he said, yeah, but this is how I get my exercise. I mean, I'm going.
Herbie grabbed his.
Herbie Hancock is taking my bass off the carousel at the airport, and I'm writing this one down.
Oh, man.
I mean, there's a million of them, and standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on the inauguration of Barack Obama wasn't a bad one.
Oh,
either.
that's so great.
And that had Herbie, Stevie Wonder, Bono, Springsteen. I mean, it was like
You played every genre that day.
We were the house band that day. So,
Name a story about a favorite memory about a pop artist that you play with. What's one that stands out for you?
Well, we had a quartet, and it was some of the most fun you could have, and it was actually Phil Collins on drums, Eric Clapton on guitar, Greg Fillinganes on keys, and me on bass, and we had more fun than you could ever wish for, and so a lot of times, flying around in charter flights,
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
it was pretty incredible, and one time we were on the train, and we were going over a bridge and stuff. And then Phil Collins looks down and he says, "Oh man, look at all those people. Oh, they look like ants. Oh, they are ants." I mean, there was just like we were laughing so much the whole time. It was really fun, and playing London Royal Albert Hall over 100 times.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
all
yeah.
these iconic theaters.
Yeah.
All these
We just did the Budokan. I think it was. It might have been the 70th time or something. It was my 80th trip to Japan last year.
Jay.
So
I know Lenny. I had Lenny on the show yesterday, and he's been to Japan a million times.
Yeah.
He just loves it over there. I mean,
Yeah.
what a beautiful culture, and they love
incredible
music.
culture, yeah.
Yeah.
And when I went there in 1980, that's when I realized how much they love music. I mean, you're walking down the street and somebody comes up with an armful of albums, to sign.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like they just are passionate about music. And the thing about music too is around the world. We play in Italy and you see people crying. We're doing Tears in Heaven, and they can't even speak English, but they're singing the lyrics to these songs. And so for me, it's like the vibration of a note, reaching the hearts of people around the world is still something very magical that I could, first of all, don't take for granted, and
Right.
I feel like it's a huge responsibility to get it right.
Nate, you don't seem like the kind of guy who phones anything in.
Well, wait, I just got a part to phone in right now.
No, but I mean,
uh,
your heart it's all about the music.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to work with people that have the crazy work ethic. I mean, the guys like Quincy Jones. I mean, he's the first guy there and the last guy to leave. We've walked out of the studio at 3:00 in the morning so many times.
Yeah.
Lionel Richie and I sit outside of Ocean Way, spoke from midnight to 6 a.m. one night with
Did
our
you
engines
really?
running. He was telling me all these Commodore stories. And
that's
Phil
incredible.
Collins, he literally. He's the first guy there and the last one to leave, and I've never seen a work ethic.
So you're going to school on this as you're working
At
with these
school,
kids.
and taking notes, literally taking notes.
I bet you are.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Well, see, I could tell what kind of a guy you were by the arrangements on your solo record, the depth of feeling and the harmonics and everything. Your solo record is beautiful.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
Man.
And having a chance to have been in a band with Bob James, one of the most amazing arrangers, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
you just hope it rubs off, you try to get it to just a little bit of it, So
He's an incredible. I'm lucky enough to say that I've written a song that he covered, so that's my connection to Bob.
really.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Ricky and I wrote a song. My brother Ricky and I. So, but I've never met Bob. He's traveled a bunch with Sanborn, who both Ricky and I have played with. So our circles are similar, but you and I have never had the opportunity to hang out. So this has been a
is
dream
perfect.
come true for me.
And Bob said hello today. I just got a text and
Oh, really?
let him know we were here. And last year, I think 2 years ago, was like his first. He'd never been to a NAMM show.
You gotta be kidding.
No, so he said I've never been. So he came and we played. We played at the Tech Awards.
Did you? Hey everybody, let's take a quick break because I want to talk to you about a couple different things. First of all, go over to patreon.com/Music on the Run podcast. That again is www.patreon.com/Music on the Run podcast. And that is where you can partner with us and financially support all the good things we're doing here on Music on the Run. Of course, there's a lot of incentives for you as well. Number one, you get a lot of behind the scenes footage, pictures, and maybe even some merch. I'm sure you can understand it takes a lot to put on these podcasts, and we love doing them, but it always costs money, and we would love to partner with you. So go over to patreon.com/Music on the Run podcast, and we'd love to have you as our partner. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is the company Electro Voice. Electro Voice is a company based here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they specialize in PA speakers and, of course, microphones. They've taken good care of us for many, many years. Prior to me starting Music on the Run podcast, I've endorsed them for a very long time. And I'm actually speaking into one of their mics right now that is a staple in the radio business called an RE320. You know what's funny is that I actually use this mic a lot on hi-hats and bass cabinets, and it's so versatile. And this is just one of the many, many super high-quality professional microphones that Electro Voice has to offer. Go check them out. You can find them at your favorite music store or just go online at electrovoice.com. Hey, let's get back to that conversation on Music on the Run. Did you?
Yeah, I had a great time.
What do you think is the secret for you, Nathan? You play, like I said, so many different genres. I mean, authentically. I mean, you weren't faking any of this stuff. What is the secret for you?
Well, I'm fortunate enough because when back in the day, radio was just, they played everything. So
Yeah.
you'd hear Hendrix, then you'd hear James Brown, you'd hear Miles Davis, all on the same station, you know. You'd hear Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Earth,
Right.
Wind, and Fire. You know, so when I was coming up, there were a lot of groups that I just fell in love with, including Cream, you know, and I'd sit in my room practicing Sunshine of Your Love, you know, with the black light posters and you know, all the lights off and just like in there in the zone, you know. So I had that. So when the call from Clapton came, you know, I said, I'm in, you know.
And you're good, and then you had it down.
I mean, it was kind of inside of me already, you know, and this, but same with Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I mean, I was a kid playing with those guys last Friday, you know.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
And when I was a kid, I saw Verdine White, and he
Jumping around,
pulled his shirt off, and he played, you know, and he had a white bass. So I bought a white bass,
Of course.
and I mean, it's just like my hero, you know,
man.
and so. And my musical tastes were all across the board. You know, I studied classically, and so, you know, everything from Rachmaninoff, Bach to Bob James and all the CTI days. So jazz, you had that, you know, and then, you know, I was in funk bands and
Right.
you know, Barry White. So, you know, just you don't really think about. You don't think about, you know, different genres. Just all this music I loved. And when Al Jarreau called me. They needed somebody like literally 2 days from the day I got the call. Somebody was sick, and I listened to the show on the plane.
Scribing.
And soundcheck was my own thing, but I knew the songs, having recorded some of them, and then just being such a fan, you know. So when I got the soundcheck, all I really needed to learn was the endings, and you know, make sure the key and everything. But same with Loggins, and so I'm glad that when I grew up, there was just so much again to draw from.
You know, I have to bring up a funny story because I played with Kenny Loggins too, but you played on the records, and I had to copy your parts on Footloose, and I hate you, because I had to play and sing them at the same time. And you know Kenny like I know Kenny. He was like, that's wrong. Go back and fix it. That's wrong. I had to cop Nathan's parts, and that bass part on that song, if you go back and listen to that, is you know what.
No, but well, I'll have to say I had like months to develop that, because every time, like, he knew he had the film to do, so every city we got to, they would like book out whatever, the conference room or whatever, and we'd have to go in there and rehearse Footloose, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty soon it was like a nervous tick. As soon as he said, we're going to rehearse, and it was like, you know, And so, like, by the time we went to record that thing and the first take, every note was like there was no other note to play, you know, and it was like carved out for months.
It's a beast. I mean, that is
You
a
know.
very developed, particular musical, melodical bass line that I really, I mean, that took me a long time
And you
to
know,
get that down.
I have to say too, and that would not have happened if you just get a call and go into the studio. Oh, we have this song Footloose. You know, I mean, it would definitely be different. You know,
Right.
if I hadn't played it for every day for months on the road, where we kind of just played it in, and then Miles Davis used to play a song for a year before he recorded it. You know,
Wow, really?
and that's So it was. It was already like a piece of music, you know, by the time it got in the studio. Because a lot of times you're in the studio, you know, the only time you're there for that day.
Right, of course.
And so it was, that was a good example of, like, that song was played in.
Ooh. And killing.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So it helped it. I think it became the record of the year for the
Oh, yeah.
Grammys and #1 record and definitely fun tune to play.
There's a lot of cover band bassists who are cussing you out every time they got to play it and sing that at the same time. So tell me one thing. Tell me the importance of listening.
You know, listening is interesting, and that's one of the questions I always ask people. You know, what's the most important? When I was coming up, I would just ask questions to everybody. You know, especially people that were already successful. I said, "What's the most important thing?" And when I asked Quincy, listen. And when I met Cannonball Adderley, he our group Power toured with him actually. You know, so we got to know him pretty well.
Wow.
You know, what's the most important thing? Listening. Eric. What's the most important thing? Listen. You have to, you know, everybody that I've asked that has been successful and that I respect, the most important thing is listening. Because a lot of times, and I'll do clinics, you know, at Berkeley, and 200 guys will come down, you know, and you know, like, I wouldn't get in the ring with any one of them, you know, because
Right.
they're amazing, you know.
Of course.
And I said, but what you have to do is, how is that going to translate to going out in the world, feeding a family, and you know, just
Exactly.
getting her done. And the other thing is, a lot of times you'll work out a lick in the room and you'll have that going and everything, but when you go to play it with the band, like, it might not fit into the conversation. So if you jam that in because that's the only thing you learned and you practice it, then no, I am going to show you this funk lick right here. you
Right,
know?
yeah.
It's like you're not part of. So what I do is I always listen. And that's where I get my ideas to, and it's amazing when you listen. It's like there's a wealth of ideas everybody else is creating. So the conversation is going back and forth in the band, and that's where the magic happens.
Conversation. That's a big word,
A
especially in a
dialogue.
band. That's what it's really all about, and that's what's
Right.
so fun. That's what I miss of the new way to record records, is sometimes you
Right.
don't get the opportunity
Right.
to be in the same room together and have those conversations. And I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss that.
I mean, as much as I love my computer, you can't have a dialogue musically.
No, you
with
can't.
it.
With yourself,
You
maybe.
can, you can hit play, and then, you know, it's going to stay like that, you know. But when Herbie Hancock's right there, and
Yeah.
Vinnie Colaiuto's over here, there's just so much stuff firing that, you know, there's a wealth of information.
What's fun when I listen to you play is that you find your spots. You support that conversation. You lay back, you listen, you're playing, but then you find a place to, there's your spot. But the
Yeah.
way you pick your spots is just so beautiful and so musical, man.
I mean, it's
I learned from that.
Well, I'm constantly learning about instincts. I mean, you know, James Jamerson made that instrument a solo instrument, you know, but on hits, you know, I Was Made to Love Her, you know, that
Right.
bass comes in and it's like he just came up with that, you know. Anthony Jackson, they put D minor on a chart in front of him for The Love of Money, and he came up with that bass line, you know. I mean, and
Did
so
he get songwriter credit for that?
He got songwriter
Thank
credit.
God.
Yeah. So they had to give him a piece of the song. But that's the genius of just like you start with something blank, and that idea was just legendary. you
Boy,
know.
is it ever.
Yeah. So but yeah, to this day, for me, when I go in, I'm going into to receive so that I can give something, you know. But it's never it's a two-way conversation all the time.
For sure. Now, the name of this podcast, in case you forgot, is Music on the Run. And what I want to talk to you about is your life on the road. You've been everywhere. You told me a million times. You've seen the world. You've toured with everybody. But here's what I want to find out from you, and this is what I think is really important about this podcast. I want to know how you normalize your life on the road and how you stay in shape on the road. Let's start there. What's a typical day look like for Nathan East on the road?
Well, first of all, the term normal and the road don't go together.
Yeah, maybe I should switch that thinking a little bit.
Nothing normal about, like being in a bed that's too hard or, but the bottom line, a few things. I mean, now I have this folding Brompton bike that I take with me everywhere I go.
Yeah, please talk about that.
So that's like a good, so since I take it, I can't just look at it when I get there, kind of like I'm guilty if I don't ride it. So
Speaks to you, does
I
it?
ride it to wherever I'm going to go to eat. I ride it to the gig, to and from the gig. So it kind of forces me to have a little bit of extra, and you get to see the cities that I'm in. So
absolutely,
that's a no-brainer. For every hotel has a pool, most of them, So if I can get for a swim, it's just kind of like opens up, for the show. I feel better if I had a little swim before the show.
Right.
I notice a difference if I don't. And then the rest of the thing is all the usual stuff, and I'm a night owl, so I'm up half the night sometimes. But yeah, those kind of things, and just don't go too crazy out there.
Yeah, what's your favorite thing to do on the road? When you're away from home, what's your favorite thing?
I mean, basically, when I'm on the road, I'm usually either catching up on the material that I'm playing, Chick Corea called me to sit in for John Patitucci in the electric band. No pressure.
Damn.
But I was like, really, guys, And so that time I spent literally every waking hour in the hotel room practicing those tunes.
Shedding the show.
Shedding the show,
Well, that's preparation, man. That's
Yeah. I mean, literally, it was like my fingers, I got blisters, and I couldn't stop shedding because the music was so challenging.
Were you playing upright or were you playing electric?
A little bit of both, yeah. And so just getting those tunes on their fingers, and then plus I don't want to kind of have to sit up there and read on a gig,
Right.
So I was trying to get them committed to memory. But between that and then, again, when I'm on the road, you're kind of catching up with family. So I'm in Japan, so it's 16 hours ahead. So now it's 9 a.m. at home. I can call them and catch them before they go off.
Right.
And so between all that kind of stuff, I'm calling. There's always a million emails, But I do try to make sure I have time to get out on the bike, though,
So did you think that helps you mentally or to deal with any of the stresses of the road?
Absolutely. Just get out there. Every morning I get up and get my 20 minutes of meditation in.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Just before anything starts, it's like if I'm going to wake up at 7, then at 20 to 7 I meditate, when I wake up. So then
what does that do for you, man?
And it just takes the brain and shuts everything down, because the news cycle alone will get you.
Boy, you said a mouthful there.
So with I just, you need that space to just go to that, like completely shut everything down, and then just, for me, I think it's where it's the most quiet and you can hear God's whispers, And so,
interesting.
Yeah.
Once again, listening.
Listening,
Once again.
And then it just kind of dials you in. And then when you go out and get the day, whatever comes flying at you, it kind of rolls off your back. And I do yoga a few times a week, which is really great too, because all it is just stretching, So, and we use our bodies, you don't realize we're carrying our base, and when you land, from customs from the plane to customs is a mile, and
so, the bases aren't light necessarily.
No, exactly. So, that's one thing we created this base just because it was starting to get, like dragging, and plus they wouldn't let me take the base on the plane, so I had the heavy case or whatever.
Right.
But so you're carrying that and your gear and your computer and your camera and all those battery packs and everything.
Right.
So it gets heavy.
So you're like this, but by the time you get
Right.
to the hotel room.
So I think it's important to have a little stretch, and so that kind of stuff is kind of typical. If I can get that in, it just keeps me from going crazy.
Yeah, I bet. You have what seems like the best disposition, I mean, of anybody I know. How do you keep that positivity?
Oh no, I am blessed beyond belief. When I wake up and I look, and I look at my family and I look at the people I get to work with and just good health. I mean, we lost Chuck Loeb a few years ago.
I'm so sorry.
One of my favorite musicians, but more importantly, one of my favorite people of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just people like that I'm attracted to, and so if they can handle cancer and come out there and after the show he's doing autographs and everything, I'm going, bruh.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that you can really and he was good to the last drop. We did a tour and I know it was hurting him to play, but he got out there and gave it 150%, And so when I think about it, and I just have good examples of people with such great work ethics. Clapton, he's again, I look at his level of energy and he just doesn't stop. And when he plays, he doesn't leave anything. It's like full on, and we laugh because then sometimes he'll have a blister, and we were in Japan a few months ago, and he had a blister on the finger that he has to do that lick for Wonderful Tonight. So
break out the super glue.
Like I thought, so that lick is like he bended up like 3 notes or something, and those little strings on the. So he this big blood blister, and I was thinking, so we were playing the tune, and I thought, oh hey, he's rearranging that melody a little bit, but then I realized, it was like
it was pain.
Every note,
pain.
Blood is flying everywhere. So people go to a concert, you don't realize these are kind of the behind the scenes issues that are taking place,
and they're real, man. And that's what that's what's cool about this podcast. Is that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about your family a little bit here. We only have a little bit of time left. Let's go back when your kids were little, when we didn't have FaceTime and all that.
Right.
How did you keep your relationship with your wife and your family together while you were traveling the whole time? What's the secret there?
That was rough. When they were about 3 years old, I came home and they had drawn a picture of the family, and I wasn't in the picture.
Oh,
and
rip your heart out.
I was like, okay, now I think I got to adjust my road schedule a little bit, because if you're gone for a month, for somebody that's 2 years old, that's like a big portion. That's 20% of their life or something, So it's and it would break my heart, And when I come home, my daughter would ask me, how long are you going to be home for this time? And it's like,
oh man, break your heart.
What I did was, when I do get home, I try to make sure that all my waking hours were spent with them and quality time, and then it's just the next thing is everybody just starts to get used to the idea, and I took them to Japan 1 year. I had enough miles.
Exactly. When miles meant something.
I had 1 million miles on 3 different airlines, so like 1 million American miles. So one time I took them to Japan. They were in first class. I was in business, so I had to go to first to visit them.
That's classic.
They were killing it. They look at these big screens and these monitors, and they were. So 10 years old, and they
were loving life,
loving life, and they learned,
Daddy, you're not supposed to be up here.
Exactly. They kicked me out a long time ago.
Oh, that's so good. So your kids musical,
and my kids are musical. They had lessons, and they were both in recitals, and my daughter. Sarah, she gravitated more toward gymnastics, so she became a competitive gymnast for 10 years until she dislocated her shoulder, and then but she was so athletic that she got on the track team, and now she's on the UC Berkeley's track team.
No kidding.
D1 Pac-12 team, traveling.
Is that right?
And doing great. But my son got bit by the musical bug, and poor guy.
I heard him on your record.
He plays piano. He played on both my albums. A wonderful musician. I discovered when he was 5 that he had perfect pitch and
the curse.
I mean, it was crazy. He can literally kind of hear something and just go play it, you know. So it's really great. Again, I feel like it's a big blessing. We get to play together.
How fun is that? My daughter is, like I said, out here again. We get to play music together as well. There's nothing better about seeing and playing with your children.
No, nothing better. And it's, again, I look at it, it's just a gift from God, you know. So sometimes in the music world, you say, oh man, do I really want my kid to be? You know?
I asked the same question because it's so different now than when we were coming up. It's a whole... That's a whole nother podcast, bro.
It is.
We ain't going to do that one today, but it is concerning.
It is, because there's a different path, and so hey, Nige.
Fam walking in.
Yeah.
Let me. Before we let you go, this gentleman was honored by the United States Congress. You got a congressional record of some sort. Will you explain exactly what that award was?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was, but they approached me and said, for your contribution to worldwide, we want to give you a congressional record. So they actually go into the Congress and they recite all the stuff you played on or worked on, and then they
that must have taken a couple of weeks.
No, but there's like an official record and a plaque on this day, and all these, it's signed by all these important senators, and it's fantastic, And again, you don't even think about that kind of stuff when you're just trying to do your best and keep the standards high.
But you're just playing.
You're just playing.
We don't work, we play.
Right. The thing people say, will you ever retire? Well, I always laugh when I hear about guys say, okay, I'm going to retire, and the retirement tour. But we don't have anything to retire from,
Exactly.
And what musician retires?
My mom didn't. She was 92 and was playing bebop up until the day she died.
Thank you.
Had better harmonics by age 90 than she did when she was 89. Every year was...
Les Paul, 95, right? Or 96, played every Monday at the Iridium in New York, B.B. King.
Right.
Even they wheeled him out to the stage, and Lucille would have...
We should be so lucky, man.
Absolutely, So, you might want to retire from, oh man, I don't want to beat it up so hard,
Yeah.
But I think the word to use is just maybe slow things down a bit or something like that if you're really, But I love it too much.
What are you doing in 2020? What are the plans?
2020 already we have a European Clapton tour booked,
Oh, great.
Yeah. So and I have a tour booked with a Russian artist. I host the Jazz Weekender on Valentine's Day weekend up in Carmel.
Is that right?
And we got a lot of good talent coming.
Okay, I saw that. I saw you advertising. By the way, you're really good on social media, man. Come on.
Oh man, no, I just post. I just stick stuff up there,
Yeah, it's great. I'm impressed.
And it's fun though. It's fun, and we live in a great time. And I think with a brand new decade here, I think there's a lot to look forward to.
Where can we find out where you're going to be? Give us some, the website and all that?
NathanEast.com usually has the dates.
Okay.
And I try to keep it current.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And apart from that, I usually, pop something up on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, when we're doing things. But just a lot of fun things in store for the year.
Podcast. Now, before we go, the good folks here at Electro Voice are very appreciative of you coming, as am I. And we'd like to gift you with this mic that we are talking into right now, an RE320.
Oh,
so
man.
Thank you so much for being here.
All right, beautiful.
Thank you, Evie.
Wow.
That's it for this version or this episode of Music on the Run. My name is St. Paul Peterson. This is my very special guest, Mr. Nathan East. We'll see you next time on Music on the Run. Thank you, everybody out here. I appreciate it.
Thank
my
you, St.
producer,
Paul.
Davide. I appreciate it. Evie, we love you. Music on the Run was hosted by yours truly, St. Paul Peterson. Recorded and produced by Davide Raso. Video editing by Ivan Sebastianov. A very special thanks to the patrons who financially support this podcast. And remember, every time you hear a song, it's most likely Nathan East on bass.